Some people are born into extraordinary circumstances. Me? I was born with a wrench in one hand and a technical manual in the other. The Harper family has never been about grand ambitions. We're problem solvers. My grandfather repaired locomotives in the Mojave Reclamation Zone. My mother kept the last functioning atmospheric processors running in the South American Preservation Corridor. Me? I fix things that float in the vast emptiness of space. Frontier extraction solutions wasn't glamorous. We were the people who kept humanity's resource infrastructure from falling apart one bolt, one circuit, one impossibly complex machine at a time. Our motto wasn't something heroic like reaching for the stars or conquering new worlds. Nope. Our motto was it doesn't break if we're watching. The mining platform XR629 was my home more than any planetary address. 63 kilometers of industrial architecture, designed to strip mine resource-rich asteroids in the Jupiter orbital region. 12 primary processing centers, 27 backup systems, and enough redundant technology to make a military engineer weep with joy. Most people thought my job was boring. Extract minerals, maintain equipment, prevent catastrophic system failures. Repeat. They had no idea how close to warfare that actually was. My typical day started at 0400 hours station time. Not because of some military discipline, but because industrial equipment doesn't care about your sleep schedule. A cooling system failure at the wrong moment could cost the company millions. And more importantly, it would annoy me. The morning of first contact, I was recalibrating a plasma extraction manifold, 17,000 moving parts, each requiring microscopic precision. Most people would see a complex machine. I saw a beautiful, intricate system waiting to be understood. Harper, to control, I spoke into my comm unit. Manifold 7 is showing microfluctuations in the tertiary pressure valve. Recommend immediate recalibration. Martinez, our shift coordinator, sighed. Again, Rowan? That's the third time this week. Precision is not a suggestion, I responded. It's a requirement. Little did I know that precision would soon become humanity's most unexpected weapon. The first hint something was wrong came through a barely perceptible system irregularity. Most would have missed it. A 0.003-degree temperature variance in long-range communication arrays. A microscopic power distribution anomaly that would make no sense to anyone who didn't breathe technology like oxygen. But I noticed. Because that's what maintenance workers do. We notice. Alien First Contact is nothing like the movies. No dramatic music. No world-stopping moment of revelation. Just a series of increasingly weird technical anomalies that make a maintenance engineer's skin crawl. The long-range sensors picked up something first. Not a massive fleet. Not dramatic warships. Just signal interference that didn't make sense. Like someone was trying to play chess with the laws of electromagnetic communication and didn't quite understand the rules. Control. I'm seeing something weird, I muttered, switching between communication diagnostic screens. Martinez wasn't listening. He was too busy reviewing shipping manifests. That's the thing about bureaucratic systems. They're great at managing expected scenarios. Completely useless when something genuinely unexpected happens. The Zor'nak didn't announce themselves with trumpets or dramatic broadcasts. They slipped into our solar system like a software virus, probing, testing, measuring. Their first mistake was assuming that technological superiority meant guaranteed success. Their second mistake, underestimating a maintenance worker with 17 years of experience solving problems nobody else could see. The initial communication burst came through standard diplomatic channels. Encrypted, multi-layered, designed to look like routine deep space communication traffic. To most systems, it would appear completely normal. To me, it looked like someone was trying to hide something. Martinez, I called out, run a tertiary cross-reference on the last communication packet. Something's off with the header compression. He rolled his eyes. Classic Martinez. Always thought I was being paranoid. 37 seconds later, the first Zor'nak A scout ships dropped out of hyperspace near Jupiter's orbital range. By then, I was already preparing. Not because I'm some kind of military genius. Not because I had some secret training. But because when you spend your life keeping complex systems running in the most unforgiving environment humanity has ever explored, you develop certain instincts. Survival isn't about having the biggest weapon. It's about understanding how systems work, how they fail, and more importantly, how to make them fail in exactly the way you want. The Zor'nak thought they were launching an invasion. I thought I was just doing routine maintenance. Perspective is everything. Let me explain something about industrial equipment that most people don't understand. Everything is a potential weapon if you're creative enough and have zero respect for the manufacturer's original design specifications. Take a plasma cutter, for instance. Officially, it's designed to slice through 100-meter asteroid sections with micron-level precision. Unofficially, with the right recalibration, it becomes a pretty impressive anti-ship defensive system. The Zor'nak's first serious assault wave approached expecting standard human military resistance, organized formations, predictable defensive strategies, coordinated artillery responses. They got me. One extremely irritated maintenance engineer with a comprehensive understanding of every single system on platform XR629. Incoming vector at 047 Epsilon, the automated defense system chirped. I was already moving. Plasma cutter, redirected. Ore transport cannon, repurposed rail gun. Cooling system electromagnetic regulators, suddenly an improvised EMP generator. "What are you doing?" Captain Reyes demanded, watching me reroute power systems with the kind of focused intensity most people reserve for brain surgery. I didn't look up. "Maintaining equipment, sir." The first scout ship didn't just get disabled. It got systematically deconstructed by its own technological assumptions. I used their communication frequencies to send cascading system overloads, turning their sophisticated battle networks into digital confusion. The Zor'nak had spent millennia perfecting warfare algorithms. I had spent years keeping massive machines running in the most unforgiving environment humanity had ever explored. They were playing chess. I was solving a complex mechanical problem that happened to involve spaceships. "This is not possible," their lead commander, Krellax, would later transmit in what could only be described as technological despair. I was calibrating a laser alignment system at the time. "Weird," I responded. "Looks pretty possible from where I'm standing." Survival, I've learned, isn't about having the most advanced technology. It's about understanding how systems actually work, how they fail, and more importantly, how to make them fail in exactly the way you want. The Zor'nak thought they were launching a sophisticated invasion. I thought I was just doing Tuesday. My first engineering mentor had a saying: every system has a weakness. Your job is to find it before something catastrophic does. I never thought that philosophy would save humanity. The Zor'nak's second wave arrived with what they considered advanced tactical adaptations. Translation: they'd reviewed their first disastrous attempt and thought they'd outsmarted us. Spoiler alert, they hadn't. My personal file at Frontier Extraction Solutions was fascinating. Not for my combat skills, which were non-existent, but for my problem-solving record. 17 commendations for preventing potential catastrophic failures. 3 internal awards for developing unconventional repair methodologies. What the Zor'nak didn't understand was that deep space maintenance isn't just a job, it's warfare. Every day. A coolant system failure? That's a potential station-wide disaster. An ore processor misalignment could rupture a 100 million credit piece of equipment. We don't solve problems reactively, we anticipate them. When their second assault wave approached, I was ready. Not with weapons, with understanding. I'd spent the interim period studying their communication protocols, ship designs, power distribution systems, not through some grand military intelligence gathering, just professional curiosity. They're using a cascading frequency modulation in their attack vector, I explained to Captain Reyes, who was watching me reroute power systems with increasing bewilderment. "And that means," he asked. I grinned. "Means they're predictable. Predictability is the enemy of good strategy." And I was about to become very, very unpredictable. The mining platform wasn't just a resource extraction point anymore. It was becoming my personal alien-repelling fortress. Ore transport cannons transformed into precision targeting systems. Cooling systems became electromagnetic pulse generators. The Zor'nak had technological superiority. We had something far more dangerous: human improvisation. And a really, really good wrench. "Incoming primary assault vector," the system announced. I cracked my knuckles. Let's see how you like a system update. The Zor'nak had a philosophical concept in their language that roughly translated to predictive warfare excellence. It was their entire military doctrine compressed into 3 syllables. The fundamental belief that if you could mathematically model every possible scenario, victory was guaranteed. They had clearly never met a maintenance worker. My grandmother used to say that the most dangerous person in any system is someone who doesn't care about the rules. The Zor'nak were about to get a masterclass in that principle. Their military structure was a marvel of mathematical precision, hierarchical, stratified. Each warrior trained from birth to perform exact functions within an immense, interconnected battle network. Every movement calculated, every response predetermined. I, on the other hand, saw their entire invasion like one massive machine that just needed the right wrench applied to the right system. They're using a quantum encrypted communication matrix, our communication specialist reported, looking worried. I was recalibrating an industrial laser cutter at the time. Cool, I'll use that. Use what he asked, confused. Their encryption, I explained, not looking up. If they're using it to communicate, I can use it to communicate back, just not how they expect. The truly hilarious part, the Zor'nak had spent millennia perfecting a military approach based on absolute predictability. They had algorithms for everything: invasion protocols, response matrices, tactical decision trees so complex they made quantum computing look like an abacus. What they didn't have an algorithm for was a sleep-deprived maintenance engineer who saw their entire invasion fleet as one massive system waiting to be troubleshot. When their third major assault wave approached, this time with what they considered ultimate weapon platforms, I was ready. Not through some grand military intelligence, just professional curiosity and an absolute refusal to let something break on my watch. Krellax, their invasion commander, would later describe my defensive actions as a complete violation of known warfare principles. I would describe it as Tuesday at the office. The first indication something was wrong came when their primary battle group suddenly experienced simultaneous, cascading system failures. Not dramatic explosions, just quiet, systematic shutdowns. Like someone had walked up to their entire invasion force and essentially told it to take a nap. "This is not possible," Krellax transmitted, his communication bandwidth dripping with what could only be described as existential confusion. I was adjusting a plasma coolant system at the time. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Warfare, I was discovering, was remarkably similar to maintaining a complex industrial system. Identify the weakness. Apply precise, targeted intervention. Prevent catastrophic failure. The universe has a sense of humor, and apparently that humor speaks fluent sarcasm. There's a moment in every complex system's life cycle where everything changes. In maintenance, we call it a critical transition point. In warfare, they probably have some fancy strategic term. I just call it the point where things get interesting. The Zor'nak invasion was about to hit that point. My personal toolkit tells a story. Most people see a collection of wrenches, calibration devices, and diagnostic equipment. I see problem-solving history. Each tool has a story. Each modification represents a challenge overcome. The quantum frequency disruptor I was developing wasn't a weapon. It was a solution to a very specific technical problem. The fact that it would comprehensively disable an entire alien invasion fleet was, frankly, a nice bonus. You can't just reconfigure military-grade alien communication protocols, Captain Reyes told me, watching me work. I didn't look up. Watch me. The mining platform had become something between a fortress and the world's most sophisticated technical laboratory. Every system was now a potential defensive mechanism, or transport cannons, cooling system regulators, atmospheric processing units. In the hands of a standard military strategist, they were industrial equipment. In my hands, they were about to become something else entirely. The breakthrough came at 0300 hours station time. Most people were asleep. I was calibrating. The Zor'nak's communication matrix wasn't just a communication system. It was a complete operational network. Every ship, every weapon system, every tactical unit was interconnected. A single, massive technological organism. Which meant, if you understood the system, you could speak its language. Incoming primary assault vector, the station's AI announced. I smiled. Not for long. What happened next wasn't just a defensive action. It was a complete deconstruction of their invasion strategy. I didn't just disable their ships, I reprogrammed them, turned their own technological superiority against them. Imagine spending millennia perfecting an invasion strategy, only to have it dismantled by someone whose primary qualification is knows how to keep big machines running. Krell-Ax's final transmission before total system failure was a mixture of rage, confusion, and what I can only describe as existential despair. This is not possible. I looked at the communication panel, adjusted a few settings, and replied with perfect, calm professionalism. Have you tried turning it off and on again? The universe doesn't just have a sense of humor. Sometimes it has a very specific, technically precise sense of humor. Some people have defining moments. Mine involved a wrench, 17 interdimensional communication relays, and a very confused alien invasion fleet. The final confrontation wasn't some dramatic space battle with explosions and heroic speeches. It was technical problem-solving taken to its absolute extreme. Krell-Ax, the Zor'nak invasion commander, demanded a direct communication channel, probably expecting some military strategist or political representative. Instead, he got me, mid-calibration, covered in industrial lubricant, wearing a maintenance jumpsuit that had seen better decades. Human representative, his translated communication crackled. You will explain your defensive methodology. I was adjusting a plasma manifold at the time. Methodology? This is called Tuesday where I work. The truly remarkable thing about systematic destruction is how mundane it can feel when you're the one doing the destroying. My approach wasn't about weapons. It was about understanding systems. The Zor'nak saw their invasion as a military campaign. I saw it as a massive, interconnected machine with specific failure points. Their primary communication matrix was a marvel of technological engineering, quantum encrypted, multi-layered, designed to be impenetrable. To me, it looked like a system waiting to be recalibrated. You have violated 16,723 distinct interstellar warfare protocols, Krell-Ax transmitted, his communication bandwidth practically vibrating with frustration. I was calculating power distribution algorithms. Weird. I don't remember signing that handbook. The final stage of their invasion involved what they considered their ultimate weapon, a massive command ship capable of coordinating their entire fleet through a single, hyper-advanced quantum communication network. They thought it was their greatest strength. I saw it as their most spectacular weakness. With a series of precisely calibrated system interventions that would look like pure magic to anyone who didn't understand industrial engineering, I didn't just disable their command ship. I reprogrammed it. Imagine spending millennia developing the most sophisticated invasion strategy in galactic history, only to have it completely dismantled by someone whose primary qualification is knows how to keep complex machines running. The command ship didn't explode. It didn't dramatically fall apart. It simply stopped, like a very expensive, very confused piece of equipment that had suddenly forgotten its entire purpose. System error, its own communication systems began broadcasting. Unexpected parameter detected, initiating reset. Krell-Ax's final transmission was a mixture of technological despair and what could only be described as profound confusion. I was adjusting a cooling system regulator when it came through. This defies all known mathematical probability. I keyed the communication panel. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Silence. Then, the sweetest sound in any technical professional's universe, a complete system shutdown. Humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology. It's our ability to look at a completely impossible situation and think, yeah, I can fix that. Diplomatic hearings are boring, especially when you're the unexpected savior of humanity. The United Earth Diplomatic Corps wanted a hero. They got a maintenance engineer who was more concerned about getting her equipment log updated than receiving medals. MS. Harper, the lead diplomatic investigator, began. Can you explain, in precise terms, how you managed to disable an entire alien invasion force? I was reviewing a maintenance report from Sector 7. Seems pretty straightforward. I fixed a problem. A problem he repeated, clearly expecting some grand narrative of military strategy. Systems fail, I explained. My job is to prevent that from happening. The Zor'nak were just another system with design flaws. The implications were far-reaching. The galactic scientific community was baffled. Military strategists were confused. Alien civilizations were reassessing their entire understanding of human capabilities. I was updating my tool calibration schedule. The Zor'nak, a diplomatic mission, what remained of it, requested multiple debriefings, not to understand our military might, but to comprehend how a single maintenance worker could dismantle their entire invasion strategy. Krelax, now a diplomatic pariah in his own civilization, was particularly persistent. How he would ask during diplomatic communications, "How is this possible?" I had a standard response: "Have you tried turning it off and on again?" Frontier Extraction Solutions gave me a commendation. I used the certificate as a makeshift equipment alignment guide. The military wanted to study my methods. I wanted a vacation and maybe some new work boots. Years later, when young cadets would ask about the Zor'nak invasion, they'd hear about massive fleets and technological superiority. But the veterans? They'd just smile and say, "Let me tell you about Rowan Harper and a really well-calibrated wrench." Heroism, I learned, isn't about grand gestures. It's about solving problems, keeping systems running, preventing catastrophic failures. Just another day at the office. The universe is a complex machine. Sometimes, all it needs is the right person with the right tool at the right moment. And maybe a really good sense of sarcasm.